Hey everybody, welcome to Pestering Pablo! Yay!
Yay.
Now I'm not wearing my glasses because I didn't bring my fake ones. I mean, these ones are fake ones, but I didn't bring my
fake ones.
My faker glasses, yes. That's what we're missing. Are you rocking mutton chops right now?
Yes.
Do the dramatic side to side for the camera so they can get a real look.
Yes, mutton chops.
I like it, it's a good
Thank
one.
you, yeah.
Alright, so do you have any news or goss?
Not particularly. Let's see. We went on a road trip and the window broke.
How did you break the window?
We didn't break the window. The lawnmower guy who's doing the lawn beside us broke the window and we got it replaced.
He was mowing along and then the rock.
A rock must have, yeah, we didn't see it happen. It was just we went to a coffee, went back, the window was broken. There was a lawnmower guy. We went up to him and said, "Oh, the window's broken. Did you see something happen?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, that was probably me." And so he fixed it.
Yeah, I'm glad it got fixed. I really am.
Yeah, it took only the entire day and pretty much was a gigantic inconvenience.
That sounds very inconvenient.
It was.
Speaking of things that inconvenience, Pablo's, you don't like your mask. Show your mask to the camera because it matches your shirt.
It does.
Color-coded.
Wow, look at the saturation on that.
Yeah. Yeah, it doesn't like that.
No.
It'd be different if I let my car dangle and then
that's very bright.
That changes the saturation.
Look at that. That's very bright.
Yeah. So this is a custom Cards Against Humanity card I made myself. It's fuzzy dice. Because of course you have to hang your fuzzy dice from your mirror. Don't stop hitting my fuzzy dice. Alright, so I have had a myriad of medical issues lately. You want to hear about my medical history, Pablo?
Sure. Why not?
You love it. Of course you do.
Yes, I'm your GP.
No, you're not. I did go and see the doctor about it. There's all sorts going on. I had the tooth removed. I've still got it. I've got the tooth. You want to have a look at my tooth?
No.
Not this time. I did wave it at the audience a few years ago with the last tooth.
No,
yeah,
not my thing.
Not today. Well, and then I've had the ear problem. The ear's been having a problem, you know, and you have to click your jaw in like a weird way, like...
What? I can't hear you. I have a problem.
No, it's not a hearing problem. It's like there's like a bubble in there.
Oh.
You've got to click your jaw in a weird way and it pops the bubble. And then all the phlegm and schlagen come out of there. So I went to the doctor and then the first time I saw the doctor, he's like, ignore it. It's fine.
Wait, okay.
Okay, not going to question that. Moving along.
Yeah.
I saw him again. I said, it's getting worse. It's still doing it. You know what he says?
What?
Ignore it.
Sure, that's very sound medical advice from this guy.
Yeah, so I saw a different doctor.
That's a good idea.
Yeah,
very good idea.
Yeah, he said, I've definitely got a thing.
That sounds like a thing.
I forgot what he said, but he named a specific thing, and he said that's what it was. So okay, I've got a thing.
You got the thing.
Yeah, and then guess what happened to me? This is about a week ago. This is about 5 days ago.
What happened?
Out of the blue, overnight,
yeah,
my taste buds changed. All of them. Like full replacement tongue style.
Is that a real thing, or is that...
This actually happened to me. This is what I'm telling you.
Wait, did you
I'm not saying I did it. No, I didn't do this on purpose.
I know, but like, how does that happen? Is it like a medical phenomenon?
Well, I formulated some theories, because basically, like, you know how I like to drink a Mountain Dew? Previously, it would mostly taste like sugar and a bit of lemon. Those were the flavors I was picking up on,
Yes,
yeah?
that sounds very much like a Mountain Dew.
Oh, but now that my taste buds have magically changed overnight, guess what it tastes like now? Caffeine.
Caffeine?
I taste the caffeine.
Wait.
That's what it tastes like. It tastes like 80% caffeine with very subtle aftertastes of sugar and lemon.
Caffeine doesn't have a flavor.
Yes, it does. It's bitter.
It's bitter?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a bag of 100% pure caffeine, and I will give you the teeniest, tiniest sample, because anything more than a 1/16 of a teaspoon is considered an overdose. I'll give you
Wait, what? Is that legal to get?
Not anymore. but I have it. It might still be legal to get. It depends on your profession. I mean, it's used obviously in sodas and makeup products, and you'd be surprised. Yeah, it's in makeup products.
Why? So you get an energetic face?
Anti-clumping agent.
Energetic face.
Energetic face. I have energy makeup.
Your just face starts twitching randomly.
It's like, you know, like when they put on the powder, except when you put on the powder, it's like a pro wrestler on the other side.
Yes, yeah, energy makeup.
Turn into a pro wrestler.
Yeah. That would be good. You should sell that.
That's
as like
a new product.
Yeah.
You got like a normal face, and you get your little like powder thing. Let's do it.
Yep, that seems legit. Yeah, I could see that as like a skit from an advertisement agency. Yeah,
that is delightful. I do like that. We've got a brand new product line coming soon from Casey and Pablo.
Makeup, yeah,
energy makeup. But yeah, no. If you did try a flavor's worth of the pure caffeine, I'm certain that you will discern a flavor.
Right.
There's a reason why most things that contain caffeine that you would consume only contain those trace amounts. Is because it will overthrow the flavor of the whole thing quite easily if you don't do it right. Okay, maybe Mountain Dew is a bad example. It was an example of something that I consume regularly enough that I would notice a significant change in flavor.
Okay.
Now, originally I thought that what had happened was that my cans of Mountain Dew had expired, and that I was drinking old expired Mountain Dew, and that somehow the lemon and sugar flavors had expired out of there. Meanwhile, I had assumed that the caffeine had stayed strong because, you know, it's like non-perishable or something.
Is it?
I don't know. That's what I assumed. But then, of course, I ate other things like McDonald's French fries or like a burger that I have on a regular basis. And everything has a different flavor than it did.
You know what it reminds me of? That episode of South Park where Stan just becomes an adult and everything tastes like shit.
The Asperger's two-parter. It's two double episode. Yeah. Except I'm not saying that it all tastes like shit. I'm not saying it's any better or any worse.
Right.
I'm saying it's different. Like as if the switches got crossed, you know. Obviously the Mountain Dew still contains the same...
Well, look, if the Mountain Dew bothers you, just get caffeine-free Mountain Dew, isn't that a thing?
No, that's way worse. I'm not drinking that garbage.
No?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yuck. Ew. Tampering with my dew. Yuck.
Right.
I don't know what mountains you've been collecting your dew on, but that's not how I do.
Right, how about this? Maybe it's just temporary. Maybe after a week or 2 weeks, you'll return.
Now, that's a good point. There was that one time after, I think it was my 15th birthday, where I blew out my taste buds with frozen Coke syrup. And then for the following 6 days, all I could taste was frozen Coke syrup. And then on the 7th day, I was eating the old peanut butter sandwich. I was like, oh yeah, the taste of the bread, the taste of the peanut. I can taste stuff again. Yeah, but this is different than that. This is almost like somebody, like an alien, had crept into my room at night and replaced my tongue with somebody else's tongue.
Okay, and you think that other people would taste Mountain Dew differently than you?
Yeah, definitely. Would you not?
You think Mountain Dew is a subjective flavor? It's not an objective?
I think everything is subjective in terms of flavor. I had that old flatmate best friend, Kitty Ra. She could eat the spice like crazy. We had that whole video where we went looking for the chili plant, the ghost chili plant.
Right.
I mean, when she would eat something like a hamburger that I'm enjoying and I think is quite flavorful, you know, there's the bread, the meat, the sauce, the cheese. It's all balanced perfectly. This combination of flavors. To her, it just tastes like bland. It just tastes like...
Yes, but the thing is, I'm pretty sure it's not because the hamburger is processed differently in the neurons. It's not like the burger changed flavor. It's just a natural propensity. You prefer something that's less spicy, and your flatmate prefers something that's more spicy. It doesn't mean that the flavor of the burger or the flavor of the curry changes from person to person. It's just the person...
Yeah, it's exactly what it is.
No, it's not.
If you
all burgers taste like burger. It's an objective thing. It's not like everyone eating the burger will taste a different burger. It's the same burger. What matters is whether they like it or dislike the burger.
Yeah, but you do realize that the reason that some people like and dislike is, for example, you might like pickles, I might dislike pickles, But if we swapped tongues, you now have a tongue that dislikes pickles. My tongue isn't prepared for that. It reacts badly.
Okay.
I now have your tongue. Your tongue has already acquired the taste for pickles. If I eat pickles with your tongue...
No, that's not the tongue. That's the brain, Casey.
No, it's not. It's...
All right, look. All right, let's give a ridiculous example. Maybe you think burgers taste like how I think chocolate tastes like. No, that doesn't work. It doesn't work like that. It's if
I had Kitty Ra's tongue, I could eat spicy foods.
No. You would still find
her tongue is able to process.
It's not the tongue. It's not in the tongue. It's the tongue does not have a central nervous system. It doesn't have.
That's acquired taste.
No, it's acquired because you enjoy it after a while. You psychologically prepare for the flavor. Okay,
you do understand that, like, somebody who on a regular basis has to climb up onto hot tin roofs and regularly is touching hot metal will have thicker skin.
Yeah, that's callus. Those are calluses.
Yeah, but their hands have adjusted to this regular touching.
Yes, but your hands can also adjust to that.
Yeah, but her tongue has adjusted to spicy foods. Mine hasn't. In any way, shape, or form.
If you had Kitty Ra's tongue, you might find it less painful when you eat it, but that does not necessarily mean you will enjoy it.
Okay, well, regardless, again, it's like my tongue was swapped with some alternate tongue. I don't know how to explain it to you in a way other than the taste buds got reset. I don't know what...
No, I think you should listen to Occam's razor. Occam's razor is the following, right? If your theory requires gigantic leaps, of faith, logical leaps, then it's not a good theory, right? The best theory is the one that requires the least amount of, logical leaps, the one that has the least amount of premises, the one that makes the most sense, one that's the simplest answer is the best answer. It's the most logical one.
Yeah, so the most logical is every person is unique. Every person is fine-tuned to be that person. People that eat spicy foods are tuned to be able to eat spicy foods. People who touch hot roofs become tuned to be able to handle touching hot roofs.
No, those are calluses. That's a physical reaction. Your skin gets
your tongue would have a physical reaction as well from the foods you eat. You eat too many sweet foods, your tongue gets the bloody, what's it called? The diabetes.
Your tongue doesn't get diabetes. Your pancreas dies, and you get diabetes.
But you can feel it on the tongue.
Can you? I'm not very well versed in tongue-related parts of diabetes, Casey. You'd have to.
But the tongue is a muscle, which means you can train it. Which means different people have different levels of training. Everybody's tongue would be different. It would be at different stages. How far can it stick out? What can it eat? What can it wiggle? What moves can it do?
Yes, but all the flavor processing goes on in here, not in the tongue.
That's like saying all the pain processing happens in your brain, not on your wounds.
Yes, there are people without nervous systems that they can burn their hand. And there are
people that have no tastes either.
Yes. And that's a neurological problem.
Remember earlier when we were talking about microbiomes sending signals to the brain? Your brain isn't the entirety of the body. In fact, it's the most remotely removed part of the entire thing. It's where the signals go.
Okay.
Which means the origin of the signals is the important thing. If I have a wound, the physical wound is the issue, and my brain is being alerted to that. Sure. My brain isn't the one having the wound.
Okay, I'll let you win the argument. Don't worry.
I mean, if I swapped my brain with somebody else's, that would be a different story.
Yes, you'd be a different person.
That's exactly my point. But if I swapped bodies with somebody and maintained the brain, then I would have to experience things through that body. If it happened to be Kitty Ra's body, I would be able to handle spice and walk through short doorways.
Okay.
Because height. If somebody swapped into my body, they now cannot eat mustard. I'm allergic. I physically can't handle it. If you swapped into my body, you now cannot eat mustard, and I bet you that if you tried, even if you loved it in your old body...
I do like mustard, yes.
Yeah, well, if you swapped bodies with me, and you attempted to eat mustard, because of the violent physical reaction involved, you will not like mustard with my tongue. I promise you that.
Not necessarily. There are people who have allergies and they will still continue eating the thing.
Oh yeah, no, I get that. That's stupidity. That's motivated people that are, they've got strong convictions, obviously.
Yes.
I mean, obviously there are smaller versions of that, like lactose intolerant people, but I mean like hard-hitting allergies, like shellfish. Yeah, there are some people that will attempt to eat the shellfish even knowing that their esophagus will close.
Well, look at it this way, right? There are ways to train your body to eventually accustom to the thing and cease getting an allergy. If you especially if you have like a doctor's assistant, if you like eat 0.05% of a shellfish, then next month you eat 0.010% of a shellfish, you build up an immunity.
I'm not 100% sold on that with allergy people at all. Are you sure about that?
Well, my mother was very, very much allergic to chocolate, and now she's not. She used to get like swollen glands as a kid, but she's totally fine with chocolate.
I like it. We're gonna do a quick Google since we physically can. We'll Google how to get over allergy.
Can you build an immunity?
Okay, well, I was just going to start off with how to get over allergy and see whether immunity was the top of the list, because there might be multiple ways.
You know how
people can develop allergies later in life, so why can't they remove allergies later in life?
Sure, maybe you'll be, by the end of your life, you'll be eating mustard out of the jar, like just...
Yeah, I mean, let's find out. I hope not, but let's find out. How to remove allergies. Allergies? Did I spell that right? I did. Treating allergic reactions, antihistamines, nasal decongestants. That's not what we want.
Wait, what I would have said is, can you create
build immunity to allergies?
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
All right, I'll do. Can you build? There we go.
Yeah, perfect. See,
there it is. Immunity to allergies. You can lose tolerance towards something and have allergy symptoms upon exposure to it, or you can develop tolerance and not have allergy symptoms.
Perfect.
So there you go. So it goes both ways.
Exactly.
But I have no intention of having trace amounts of mustard, because even that amount has made me be sick in the past. So
it's up to you.
I've got no intention.
If I ever develop a mustard allergy, you can rest assured that I will redevelop tolerance immediately.
Yeah. Well, I thought you'd be amused at the idea that I had my taste buds change overnight.
Yeah, but it is interesting.
It took me a while to adjust as well, because, obviously at first I thought that each of the things I was having was the thing that was off. It took a while for me to realize the common denominator was me.
Sure.
But I mentioned it to the doctor, and his answer was a bit underwhelming, I felt.
Right.
He says it's related to the ear thing. Because the ear thing is blocking the nasal cavity on the side.
I mean, that sounds like something that could possibly be a thing.
Yeah, now motorbike just went by, so I'm going to say all of that again. But yeah, the doctor said it was because my stupid ear thing is blocking the nasal cavity on a regular basis. And
right.
I'm basically not breathing out of this nostril 5 out of 6 days.
That makes sense, actually. It may be underwhelming, but it does make a lot more sense than you having a different human being's tongue.
I didn't literally mean a different human being. The whole point of the alien was that, like, they had a technology, like they walked in and went bleep bleep, and then the tongue got reset.
Right.
It's not somebody else's tongue got implanted.
Okay.
That was me trying to give you comparisons about how different tongues can react to different stimuli.
All right. Well, I think
the whole point was my tongue had been reset. That's what I was.
Maybe you burnt your tongue, right?
No, I didn't. I've burnt my tongue countless times in my life, and that's never actually changed the flavor of things. This is a full, everything tastes different. My tongue is picking up on different key flavors of things as opposed to other ones. Because, most things you eat are a mixture of things.
Yeah.
That's what recipes are. That's what ingredients are.
Yes, of course.
So instead of picking up on certain ingredients like sugar, which was previously, one of the first ones on my tongue, I eat something sweet, ooh, sugary.
Well, yes.
Now it's almost the last thing that I distinguish out of what I put in.
Yep.
If you gave me like a walnut chocolate cake last week, for example, it would taste quite chocolatey. There'd be a lot of sugar and maybe trace amounts of walnut.
It could be a diet chocolate walnut cake.
It could be, but if I ate it right now, the chances are I'd be mostly picking up walnut. It would be like 80% walnut, even if there was only trace
you're
amounts.
picking up on the best part of the cake, the walnut.
Well, I mean, again, it's not better or worse. It's just different is what I've been trying to get you to understand.
Yeah, I understand this.
Yeah, I'm not saying any of the recipes changed or any of the ingredients are missing. It's just the ones I'm detecting and to the level of which I detect them has completely freaking changed overnight.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully when I get my ear fixed, it'll fix my tongue as well.
Yes, exactly.
So health conditions concluded. Unless
Very
you've
good.
had any. How's your health been? It's Corona 2020 time, so
Yeah,
you can
it's
grumble
very
about
good.
all of the health if there's any health to grumble about.
No, I'm fairly healthy.
Fairly healthy? Oh, I don't trust that. Fairly? What do you mean by fairly?
Oh, it fell.
No, it's just tease. I'm not actually worried about the germs from you. If I was, I wouldn't be pestering you.
Yep.
Now, what?
What's up?
Oh goodness, I don't know. I was gonna improv into something.
Yeah, yeah. Let's see.
I tell you, did you I think I tried to invite you to the arcade the other week,
Yes.
didn't I?
Yes.
Did you hear about what happened at the arcade?
Oh, the skeleton key.
Oh, you did know.
Yep,
Yeah,
you told me.
I found the admin keys, the master key. That's the
master
word.
key.
Because I was playing Pokemon style. My friend took me to the arcade. He was like, "I'm gonna play on some machines. Ha ha, diddly diddly." And I just was like, "Oh well, in Pokemon, when you walk into the arcade, you walk around looking for coins. You find coins." So I did. I found a coin on the first trip to the arcade. And I found the master keys just behind a machine. And I'm like,
Indeed.
"Oh, what are these doing here?" And so I said to my mate, "I've got the master keys. I could open up the machines and we could look inside."
Yes.
And friend didn't want to. Friend said no. Friend got all panicky. Like, "You do what you got to do, but I'll pretend I'm not with you." And I'm like, "You bitch."
Betrayal.
Yeah, how could you? So at the end, I handed in the keys to the staff. Like, "Excuse me, I found these on the floor," and they were just like,
Goodness, it's how
they didn't
terrible.
say anything. They just made a derpy face at me. But you know,
Of course.
so yeah, wasted opportunity.
Yeah. You could have seen so much machine guts.
I could have. You know, Caroline almost joined us today. She was almost in the back seat,
Cool.
but I didn't clean the car.
Ah.
There's not the actual issue. She had plans at 2:30.
Right.
She was like, "Can we hang out after that?" I'm like, "I have dinner plans at 7. Like, how many hours are there in a day?"
24.
Yeah, but it's not enough. We should go off a day that's... We'll go with 48 half-hour hours per day.
You sure?
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
48 hours at 30 minutes apiece.
Yeah. 48, 30 minutes.
Yeah, so it's 30 minutes every hour. Now time is just flying by.
Yeah,
It's already been like 30 hours today, Pablo.
indeed.
One part the audience isn't going to be happy about in comparison to when we have the further out camera is legs. They like to see our legs. I have nice, clean shaven legs. You've got big, hairy legs. It's a, yin and yang sort of a thing. If only they could see.
My legs.
Well, no, it's both. It's
Our
it's
legs.
a yin yang thing. Yeah, because obviously there's a lot of pervs that would like my legs, but there's definitely some of those hairy lovers out there too, and they'd be like, "Oh yeah, pop those legs."
I am glad I'm not showing my legs at this point.
It's funny that men don't like to be objectified.
Yes.
That amuses me ever so much. Yeah, the fans have been sending me messages about us. They saw our videos and they messaged me. Nah, too disturbing for you?
Yeah, let's change this subject.
What
please.
subject do you want?
Well, let's see. What is there to talk about?
If you don't have one, I'll pull one out of my sleeve for you.
Pull one out.
Okay, if you had a 3D printer, what would be the
Gun.
very first thing you would
Gun.
print, and why?
Gun.
And why?
Check the government.
What?
To check the government. You have to have a gun to check the government.
What do you mean by check the government?
Alright. If they create a bunch of policies you dislike, you have the gun as leverage. Alright, let's see, look, this is what I do like the Fifth Amendment? Or Second Amendment? Which one is the gun amendment in the American Constitution? I like the gun amendment. If any Americans out there, that's a very good amendment, and Australia should have one, but Australia doesn't even have a Bill of Rights. That's embarrassing.
I am very surprised that in 2021 somebody is pro-American gun style.
I do very much like guns. I think it's an important...
I like guns as much as anybody else, but I do also acknowledge that in America the amount of mass shootings and
Yes,
school
but in
shootings
America,
and innocent
in
shootings.
America, it would have violence anyway. Like in the UK, there's a lot of stabbings because there's no guns. There's
Yeah, but you do realize that, like, in a world where there's no cars, there are no car accidents. The more cars you release, the higher the amount of car accidents, right?
Yep.
So if you allowed all of the Australians to have all the guns they wanted, the amount of gun-related accidents would skyrocket.
Yep.
Right now, the amount of gun-related deaths is relatively low. I mean, when you look at America, where people are being shot basically every other day.
Yes, but the problem isn't with the gun. The problem is with the inherent social issues.
No, it's definitely not.
Yes.
The problem isn't drunk drivers or sleepy drivers or drivers that weren't paying attention. The problem is cars. Cars equal car crash. You know why? Because humans aren't robots. We are flawed inherently by default. A human will always make a mistake. A human will always make a bad judgment call.
All right.
So by default, if you put any machinery, be it a gun, be it a car, be it anything, into the hands of a human, the chance of human error making an accident happen is inevitable. So the humans are not to blame. We already know going into any of these situations that humans cannot be held accountable. They cannot be trusted with anything. They will make mistakes. There will be fatalities.
Okay.
That's just part of the human
thing.
thing.
And what's the point? The point
more
is...
cars equal more car accidents.
Okay.
It's not about sleepy drivers or drunk drivers or disgruntled drivers. Same with guns. The more guns, the more gun accidents, gun fights, people getting shot, schools getting shot. It's not about how disgruntled the people are or whether they've had gun training or they understand gun safety.
Okay.
None of those things change that.
All
it's guns. If there are no guns, there's no getting shot. If there's no cars, there's no car crashes.
Okay.
So America, with a lot of guns, as you've mentioned, also has an insane amount of gun-related tragedy.
Yes.
And the rest of the world, as far as I was aware, judged them quite harshly for that.
No,
I mean, 2020, how many schools got shot up?
I have no idea.
Because in America, they rounded up at least 99% of the global average.
All right.
The rest of the world
What
did
is your
less.
point? You think that we should now take away the guns?
I'm saying that they inherently made that problem themselves by releasing that amount of guns.
Yes, but the society, American society, is an inherently broken one, right? And look, right, do you think that the police would have suffocated George Floyd if he just pulled out a frickin' Magnum and said, "Get back, I don't trust you"?
I don't know who any of those people are.
George Floyd, the guy who got strangled to death, the black guy. You know, the knee on the throat guy?
I thought there were several black guys that got knees in the throat.
Yes,
and
but
a couple of white guys.
The specific black guy called George Floyd, who got strangled because he was just going to a store and a guy said, "Oh, that's a fake $20 coin." Called the police came and strangled him to death. Do you think that would have happened if he could have just pulled out a gun and said, "Get back, I don't trust you. This is police brutality. If you try to do anything, I will use self-defense"?
I am 100% certain that if he had pulled out a gun, he would have been shot dead.
Well, it's better than being choked to death.
Well, again, the argument with that was that the majority of people didn't die from the police choking. It's fairly standard practice over there and almost never kills anybody except for like those 7 or 8 people that it definitely did kill.
Right, so you're defending the practice
No,
of...
I'm not. I'm saying that guns isn't a...
solution.
Yay, it's gonna fix everything. No, every additional gun you add is essentially a gun murder victim you might as well add to the statistics. Every car that you add to the road might as well be an additional car crash victim you're adding.
But let's also take away drugs and let's take away alcohol.
I never said to take away anything.
Yeah.
But yes, if there was no alcohol, there would be no alcohol poisoning deaths. If there was no guns, there would be no gun deaths.
If there was no money, there would be no money-related death.
Exactly. Now, I'm not saying that any of those things are good things or bad things, but I would say that the majority of people would look at America, which is, as you've said, in a state of, you know, what did you say? You used a phrase. I've lost it. But
we can reverse the video.
My understanding was that they're essentially in a state of chaos and violent turmoil.
Yes.
That's not getting better by adding more guns. Yes, if we could, as a
I would say that a lot of the issues would have been solved with more guns. Like, for example, you know, the Black Panthers, right? They regulated police violence in the East boroughs, you know, in those like Bronx and you know the East Coast, right? There was a lot of police violence, but then the Black Panthers came around, you know, walking around with
Oh,
shotguns.
this is
in
a
public.
group of humans named the Black Panthers.
Yes, the Black.
I thought you genuinely meant Black Panthers.
No, no,
for
no,
a minute.
not,
I was trying to figure out how you're tiring
not
it all together.
superhero, like as in the Black Rights Movement, the militant Black Rights Movement, Black Panther. Okay, so they carried around shotguns in public. Do you know how much the police violence against black people and minorities happened? It just dropped immensely. But then Ronald Reagan, the guns right guy, right? He illegalized, made it illegal to actually carry a gun in public. So that immensely decreased the strength and psychological aspect of, you know, the defense against black violence.
But you do realize that the stats very clearly show that in places that aren't America, take Australia for example, where guns are legal, you can buy guns and you can have guns.
Can I?
But yes, but you have to. You have to get a license.
I'm gonna get me a gun as soon as I can.
No, you have to do training and get a license, just like a car. You can have a car, you can go buy a car, but you need a license and a permit.
I'm not saying that you should just give out guns to kids.
That's the America way. In America, they want anybody can just have a gun.
Well,
it's freedom of rights. It's the right to bear arms. An 8-year-old has the right to bear arms.
That's a very good right to have, eh? But yes, I do think that there should be some training.
Then you're going against the Americans. They don't want there to be training. There shouldn't be any training.
No, I don't think
if I'm not a criminal, I should be allowed a gun.
I don't.
I know how to do a gun.
I think even criminals should have guns. Like, look, the thing is, right? I don't think it should be obligatory to have training to buy a gun, but I do think it's a good idea to have a system in place where you can get the training if needed.
Yeah, again, in places like Australia, if you let me finish, because you have to do training and have to get the permit, the amount of wild gun-related nonsense is significantly lower. And this applies to New Zealand, this applies to, I think, possibly Canada. Most places that are not America do allow guns with the same rules as cars. You have to pay for it, you have to prove that you can be handled with it, and it will be licensed, registered, and
Casey,
it'll be
the right to bear arms is like one of the few actually genuinely good.
But you do realize that that's well out of date. When they wrote the right to bear arms, it took over 20 seconds to load a single bullet.
The government is still a piece of shit. That doesn't change the right to bear arms.
Yeah, but again, what they've interpreted it as has led to this problem. Are you acknowledging that there is no problem? That America doesn't have an insane amount of gun-related deaths?
It is. It's terrible. It's a tragedy.
Because again, how many schools with school children in New Zealand, Australia, any other place that I can name off the top of my head, how many of those happened last year in comparison to America where it happened almost weekly?
Well, look, you've got to take into consideration that America has a population of 320 million people, around about. And Australia
But somehow everybody else managed to have basically zero schools getting shot up by the students.
No, by the students, yes. It's
in America,
a localized. It is a pretty much a localized thing in America. But that's because the society is so shit that the kids have gone crazy.
But you do realize that that's also to do with all the guns. If all of the kids had access to cars, how many kids do you think crashed cars last year?
This is like the video games cause violence argument.
It's not.
It is.
It's not.
So you're saying that
video games and violence are unrelated. Cars and car accidents are directly related.
Yes,
guns and gun accidents are directly related. You're the one sounding crazy here, not me.
Sure. Okay. So then I reject my convictions for the sake of changing the subject.
Well, I'm just confused what your convictions are because you don't seem to follow a logical track.
Look, right to bear arms is a logical right and a right that should be preserved throughout, right?
Yeah, but right now, everybody everywhere else has the right to bear arms with the rules that you treat a firearm like a vehicle. It is a responsibility. It can take lives, and it will take lives. It's inevitable that it will.
If you're creative enough, anything can take lives.
Yeah, but things like dish soap aren't inherently going to take lives.
Well, it's toxic. Some dish soap.
Yeah, but again, when a human drinks soap, we do blame the human. When a human crashes a vehicle, it's it can't be the human's fault. You know, the human was drunk. It's booze that's the problem. Oh, the human was sleepy. They've been overworked. That's the problem.
Okay.
So when there's a gun accident, he was disgruntled or he was mentally unhinged. That's what the real problem. It's not guns. there is a direct line between gun and gun death.
Sure.
There is a direct line between car and car death.
Okay.
And these are inevitable lines that you can see on stats and graphs.
Sure.
I don't know why you're saying it in like I'm trying to shut you down kind of a way.
Well, it's because we've been talking about it for 20 minutes, isn't it?
Well, what else are we going to talk about?
Yeah, good point. But something that isn't inherently combative, because I'm not going to change my position, and you're not going to change your position, and it's going to
I'm not saying what my position is. I didn't say I was pro or negative either way. I'm questioning you on yours to try and get to the root of it, which I still feel like we haven't quite tapped on,
look,
but okay.
America is a shit place to be living in. The fact that there are guns, or that there would be no guns in a hypothetical non-gun ownership America, right? There will still be violence. Okay. There would still be an inherent, like...
Okay, let me go off that premise.
All right.
Would you say, I don't know, Pakistan is a shit place to live in comparison to America? If America is such a shit place to live, where things are so bad that the citizens need to be causing problems of their own, would you say Pakistan is on a similar tier?
Well, Pakistan has different cultural values. They have different norms.
Not the question.
Look,
that was not the question.
All right, so
you said America is a shit
place.
place to live with a
place.
shit system that's upsetting the people.
All right.
Would you say Pakistan is one of those?
I think Pakistan has a lot of problems, but I do not think it's as shit as America.
Okay, you're missing my point. Name a place you think is on par with as shitty as America.
Maybe in terms of...
Iraq... Where do you want? Right. Germany? Where exactly do you think?
Iraq is only shit because Americans made it shit.
That's not what I'm asking you.
Let me think.
I can't Google you just going in circles.
A point of...
Name a place that you think is shit.
Afghanistan is a shit place to live.
Right, so let's find out how many Afghanistan children shot up Afghanistan schools last year.
That's like one fraction. You kind of... That's a double standard. That's not...
It's not. They have access to guns.
It's not a fair comparison.
They have access to guns.
But there's different culture. Casey, all right, look. If you gave, say, guns, the same amount of gun ownership rights to a culturally similar place, like, say, Australia or England, I think that there would be school shootings, yes. Yeah, okay. If you give absolutely guns to all of these countries, there would be some school shootings, not as much as in America, because yes, America is an inherently violent country. It has like a very violent culture to it. But that's, yes, there would be shootings if you legalized it. That's a tragedy.
I do have the answer for you here if you were curious to find out.
Go ahead.
One in 2020. So last year, one university was shot up by 3 gunmen.
Okay.
They stormed the campus and shot it up.
Yeah.
So we've got one university in Afghanistan shot up the same year that at least 30 different schools got shot up in America.
There's so many different... Like, look, there's going to be some people who are going to be inherently violent. Like that Bryant guy who shot up Christchurch, you know? He was an Australian citizen. He went to New Zealand and shot up...
But again, you're trying to blame angry people for gun violence instead of blaming guns.
Yes, I will, and I will stand by that until I...
Right, so you might as well also say it's drunk drivers that cause all the accidents on the roads.
Well,
it's all sleepy people that stop paying attention.
To a point, yes.
No.
Yes.
No, these are things that will happen, 100%. Yes. I'm a driver. I'm a good driver. I drive when I'm only good.
Okay, so the only precondition you need to die is to be alive. That's what it is. It's just reality.
Okay, let me put it like this. A person that works with molten lead and molten ore is far more likely to die a molten lead or molten ore related death than somebody that never touched it to begin with.
Yes.
Which means if we make molten lead a part of every single kitchen, everybody every day is fiddling with molten lead, guess how many molten lead related deaths will globally go up overnight?
A significant
well, surely the humans are to blame. Clearly drunk people are the ones that are getting burned by their molten lava. That's why.
All right, but are you saying that...
I'm saying if you put a dangerous thing in the hands of a human, humans will get harmed.
Sure.
This is a very simple train of thought.
Okay. Yes.
Cars. Guns.
Sure.
Uncooked chicken.
Sure.
All of these things,
I'm not debating you on that.
So but you are trying to say that, well, we should all have more guns, more right to bear arms.
Yes.
But we shouldn't also all have more cars and more uncooked chickens and molten lava machines.
I think we should have more cars. And uncooked chicken is a completely different thing. You can't even make that comparison. Uncooked chicken is a lack of knowledge.
Countless people die from uncooked chicken.
Yeah, sure.
They should know better, just like gun people should know better, and just like car people should know better. Because the only ones that ever take a life are the ones that didn't behave themselves. They didn't follow the rules.
Yes,
they didn't understand.
What do you want me to say, Casey?
I want you to accept that humans aren't this magical being. They're very simple. It's painfully obvious. If I invent a machine and it's a teleporter, but one in 100 times it disintegrates a person,
okay,
I could release it to the public and people will use that. And guess what? That fatality rate of people dead by teleporter will just go way up.
Yeah, sure. I'd use it.
But that's my point, though.
Okay.
If we discovered that the teleporter was killing 1 in 10 people or 1 in 4 people, we might start to reevaluate how many of those we're giving out to the public.
Sure.
The only reason people don't really look at the whole car thing too much is because there's a huge industry behind making sure that manslaughter cases basically get swept under the rug.
Sure.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Okay, but you don't see how that ties in any way back to the why would you be pro-America right now, especially pro-America in relation to guns.
I'm not pro-America. I think that's one of the very few actually genuinely amazing laws.
But okay. I really don't get your logical leap there. How did you get to that?
Well, I think all governments should allow, the right to bear arms. I think it's a law.
They do.
It's a right. It's a right to bear arms.
They do.
I think
there
it should
are
not
rules
be.
And criteria
I do not think that such a.
You do not think there should be rules and criteria in place. You want it to be free reign like the Americas.
Yeah. Sure.
Everywhere else has guns.
Yep.
Earth isn't a place that's void of guns, and then there's one huge posit in America.
I think that you should be able to rock up into a Walmart, or what's an Australian equivalent of Walmart?
You feel like you should be able to rock up to the Ford lot and buy a car, and the fact that you now have the car is the right to drive. You can drive because you have the car. Everyone has the right to a car, so as long as you can acquire the car, that's all that should be required. The right to travel.
Well, it's
the right to travel. Everyone should have the right to travel.
A gun is a much simpler thing than a car.
It's definitely not.
It is much simpler thing.
It's definitely not.
It goes bang. Most 99.9% of the people who would buy a gun would understand what buying a gun entails.
And how is that different than a car? Car goes vroom forward, car goes vroom backwards.
Yes, but you also need to change gear.
And with guns, you need to maintain it. You need to clean out the chambers. Yes. You need to make sure that the hammer doesn't get chipped.
Yes, of course.
There's maintenance involved with both of these things. It's an equipment. It's a dangerous piece of equipment. I don't know why you're trying to separate them like they're different things.
I'm not necessarily. I'm saying that, look, when you drive a car, you need to know the rules, right? Because otherwise, But it's not with guns. There are no rules. You don't need to know anything. You're not held accountable in any way, shape, or form. You should be held accountable. Of course you should be held accountable. But a gun,
we hold you accountable ahead of time. If you can't prove to us that you know how to drive, we're not giving you the license in the car. If you can't prove you're responsible with a gun, we're not giving you the gun.
I think you should get a gun unconditionally.
No.
Unconditionally.
Yeah, so unconditionally people should have cars then.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. They need to travel.
That's a slippery slope, Casey.
It's not. Both of them are a slippery. That's exactly what handing dangerous equipment to people willy-nilly is a dangerous slope. That's exactly what we're talking about.
Sure, Casey.
And the place that you keep referencing as if it was the holy grail of doing it right is the place that has the most fatalities from the thing.
Yes, but America got lots of violence because America is an inherently unjust country.
Again, there are other inherently unjust countries on Earth. Why are they not all doing it? There are certain places that are more inherently unjust than America.
In Brazil, you can literally rock up to a gun place. You do not need a license. You can get one. It has a significantly less school shooting and university shooting.
So shall we Google that? Can you get a gun in Brazil without license?
Yes, Google it.
We'll Google it. Can you buy gun in Brazil without license? Question mark. For citizens to legally own a gun, they must have a gun license, which costs R88.00, and they have to pay a fee every 10 years to renew the registration of their gun.
Really?
In 2005, the majority of Brazil's population voted against banning the sale of guns and ammunition to citizens in a referendum. Executive Order number blank.
Weird.
So, yeah, I don't know where you got this idea that everybody's running around free reign except for
maybe in my dreams.
America.
Maybe in my dreams. All right, listen. Yes, you should have some level of qualifications, but that should come afterwards. You know, you should not.
So we should give cars to children, and then later they'll learn to drive.
No,
it's the same exact thing.
All right, look.
You're handing a dangerous thing to somebody.
All right, look. What? All right, how about this? Right?
If I had a laser beam that could burn through walls and buildings,
look, this.
Do we not want people to understand it
What
first?
if someone cannot afford, right, a gun license, right, but still it is in every day in a dangerous situation, right?
Yeah. So what if you can't afford the registration on your vehicle, but every day you need to travel?
Well, I think, for example, in, say, a country road, you know, if you're in a farm, you should be able to drive. You can make mistakes in a country road. But if it's in a city, in a place that's more habitable, you know, there should be conditions with driving cars. And, yeah, all right.
I'm just saying, most of the world has a system in place, which is before we give you a dangerous thing, we need you to prove that you can be held responsible.
All right, how about this?
And then, when they do, we give it to them.
Complimentary. So, free. You get a free training with every gun.
Why not free driving license with every driving then?
Yes, that's a good idea. Actually.
All right, socialism for the win. We're on the same page.
All right.
What's the problem?
I've never had a problem.
Well, your problem initially was that you wanted everyone to have guns with no training and just willy-nilly styles like America.
I mean, like, look, I think, for example, I think it's very much discrimination against having a gun in Australia. Like, it's very expensive. You have all of these complicated things.
And it's the same with a vehicle. So you have to decide what's more important to your day-to-day survival.
Gun.
Okay, so you go buy a gun and I'll use this vehicle and we'll see who has to use their thing on a more regular basis.
Okay.
So...
All right.
I'm not sure exactly what your purpose would be other than you want to have a gun for... You think they're cool?
No, I think...
For protection, you feel scared? Do you feel like people with guns are trying to get you here in Australia?
No, but I do think that a gun is an important political tool.
What politics are we talking about?
The politics of the masses. All right.
But again, like you said, if the masses are disgruntled, they'll find a way to cause their mayhem regardless. You said that.
Yes.
You said if they've only got knives, they'll do stabbings.
Yes, of course, but a gun is always a much better tool, right?
There's better things than guns. What about thermite? You can melt a tank with thermite.
Yes, but that
requires
a lot of technical... Oh, can you?
Yes, it's two things. You buy the two things, you mix them together, you've got thermite.
Yeah, but
you don't even need a license.
That requires technical knowledge, innit?
So does driving a car and maintaining a gun. These things don't just come as second nature of just, I'll figure out when to oil it. Just on magic.
Of course, but one requires significantly more.
You know, I've owned a gun. The maintenance on the thing alone made it not worth it. I had my grandfather's old war gun.
Nice.
The fucking thing needed to be cleaned out like every other friggin' year.
Sure.
Just sat around, but if you didn't clean it, then there was no point having it because it would jam and you'd use it.
I would go hunting. That's always been something I've always wanted to do.
Well, that's a different thing, because you get a hunting license to prove that you're trustworthy to go hunting, and then you can.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Nobody took away your right to a car, or your right to a gun, or your right to hunting. All that we require is that you prove that you're not going to drive the human death toll fucking way up because you can't be trusted with the damn thing.
Well, of course, Casey.
That's the entire argument that we've had.
All right,
here.
let's agree that guns should have some sort of license, right?
I mean, what's wrong with the Australia/New Zealand/Canada system where you go to a course, you do some training, you prove you're worthy, you do a shooting range, and then you get the paper, and then that's it. Now you've got it. You paid your $300 or some shit for a piece of paper that says you're good, and then in a decade you go and do it again and get the paper renewed.
That's annoying, but sure, let's agree to your
Well, I'm just saying that this is already the situation in multiple locations, and the gun-related death toll is very low.
Yes, but I don't think because in Australia I feel that there's a discrimination against gun ownership, and I don't. I think
I feel like in Australia there's discrimination against literally everything.
I want to see gigantic billboards with guns and like this. Go here to do the training, and you're good.
You know, there are gun ranges. I can drive us to a gun range right now.
Yes, I know that there are gun ranges.
No, ones where we don't need a license, where we can just walk in, pay some money, and start shooting.
Oh, that's cool.
Did you want us to go there?
Well, not necessarily.
Well, now you're the one that doesn't want to go play with guns. You got me all riled up.
All right, let's go to the gun range.
You're paying.
How much is that?
I don't know.
And it's not like a range where you can just go ahead and start shooting.
It is. It's in Surfers. They've opened a new one.
It's like a concrete block where there's like a little cutout of a target and you shoot that with like earmuffs.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds actually pretty fun. It's like $80 for a pistol, I think.
Yeah. So again, nobody's taking your guns away from you, Pablo. Nobody's telling you can't hunt. Nobody's telling you can't go to a gun range. Nobody's trying to get in your face and say no. Except for, like you say, Australia in general does have a very ignorant and oppressive view, but that's on everything. I mean, have you not talked to any of the Australians about the masks? They complain about it more than you do.
I do hate the mask, actually.
Yeah, but they all hate them. I don't
Those
know.
masks are
I haven't
so
come
annoying.
across a single Aussie that's like, yeah, change. I view change as a positive thing.
Yeah, all right, look. I'm with them 100% on these freaking masks. I tell you.
The mask is just a recent one. I've heard them complaining about everything and anything.
All right, yeah, okay. Some things, they have a point, like the mask. Other things, like putting the refugees in basically concentration camps is bullshit.
Yeah, I agree. Concentration camps are pretty bullshit. Cut that shit out.
Australia, stop that.
Oh, Australia? Anybody. I was going with just the global. I tend to focus
especially
global.
Australia.
Sure, but if you have the internment camps, stop it.
Yes, exactly. Perfectly. We can agree on that.
That's the highlight of the video.
Yes.
It's just going to be the name of the video. Is
Stop concentration.
Yeah, if you have the internment camps, ...
Don't do
stop it.
Yes, stop it.
Just stop it.
Cease all internment camps. Yep.
Wow, this was a really fun video. We got super political. So we really, all we covered off was that I have a bunch of medical problems and Pablo has a bunch of gun-related fantasies.
Okay, yes.
Those are the two things we've established in this video.
Lots of guns, yes.
Oh, I love
a whole wall of guns.
You know, I'm a filmmaker. I think, more guns, more explosions, more action, it's great. But on the other hand, in reality, as a human who will likely die of something at some point, I can't help but consider what things are more likely.
It's almost
and less likely to kill
100%
me.
chance that you're going to die in your life.
Oh yeah, I know, but my point is that my chance of dying in like a car accident specifically is say 20%. There's a relatively high chance that car accident will be the way I go.
Yeah.
But something like diabetes might be at like 3%.
Yes.
Gout might be at 0.21%,
You should eat more vegetables.
That's my point.
But I don't think gout kills you. It just makes your life very, very painful.
And that will eventually kill you.
Yeah, sure, but anything will technically eventually kill you.
Yeah, but that's my point. Something will eventually kill me. So I would prefer to reduce the odds of it being something I don't like and increase the odds of it being something awesome. So for me, something awesome would be like, you die with something you love. Like that guy, he was a hoarder and he got crushed to death by a stack of his pornos. They fell on him.
So you want to die ironically?
No, but he died under his treasures. His treasures literally squashed him to death. I mean, that's way better than like dying on the toilet and you're straining to take a poo and then you strain in the wrong way and you pop a foo-foo valve and that's it, you're done.
Yeah, that sucks.
That's really low on my list. So I've got to do whatever I can to reduce the odds of dying on the toilet and increase the odds of dying surrounded by my treasures.
All right.
But I mean, if we suddenly allowed 10 million more guns onto the land, my chance of dying from a gun-related death goes
but
so
gun-related
much higher.
deaths are so cool.
No, I would not want to die from gun-related death. I also wouldn't want to die from car-related death. They're both way too obvious. They're both way too simple. There's no... I'd rather die from a spectacular suicide than shot or car crashed.
Yeah, actually, all three of them are perfectly fine ways to die.
For you?
Yeah.
Okay, see, I would put suicide way higher than either car or gun death.
Yeah, like I get suicide because then at least you
had the control to
pick
what happens.
Yes.
But I mean, I would probably take accidentally tripping, falling off a balcony and falling off like a high rise over a car accident or gunshot.
Sure.
Because at least it's something unique, you know. Things like a heart attack. How many tens of thousands of people die from a heart attack every day?
A substantial quantity.
Yeah, so even though my odds of dying from a heart attack are relatively high, my chance of dying in a car crash is relatively high.
Yep.
Both of those are just so boring to me, personally. It's not a personalized death. It's a fucking any asshole's death.
Well, like, for example, if you're assassinated...
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I'll take, especially if you're assassinated while doing something that you like watching the opera, or
Oh, yeah,
you know,
that's pretty cool.
Maybe you're watching the sunset over a beach. You know, oh wow, look at the sunset right there, and there's the asshole behind you. Like, just keep watching that sunset.
Yeah, assassination is probably one of the coolest ways to die.
Yeah, I'll put that up there. Yeah. Remember the time when SpongeBob ate the pie and it was going to explode? So Squidward gave him a great last day ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good way to go.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh wait, that wasn't suicide, that was manslaughter. It was sponge slaughter.
Sponge slaughter.
Yeah, he didn't actually intend to feed him an exploding pie. It just didn't work out well.
I have a call.
Okay. Thanks for watching.
Bye.
Bye. There he is. Pablo, and look what's behind you. Full moon. Full moon. We've got it. We've got the footage of the full moon now.
I was just thinking, this place would be a great place to go fishing in, eh?
Definitely not. There's signs all around that say water contaminant, don't go fishing. Really? Don't get the shellfish out of there. You don't want it, it's bad.
Boat trailers accepted.
Nah, not that one. There's other signs. There's other signs.
Really? Huh.
There's signs. There's a sign out there. I can see signs.
You could be right. You could be right. It does look kind of weirdly contaminated.
Well, because this isn't the ocean. This is some sort of friggin' canal that goes out to the ocean.
Indeed.
It's crazy.
Wow, very, very crazy. Infrastructure, yo.
Yeah. All right. So should we go drink with your mom?
Yep. Let's do it.
All right. Do something at the camera so that we can do the.
This is my closing the video down.
Yeah, but it's just gonna be a hard cut. Yeah.